With the news update on WHTC Holland's Cool FM, I'm Gary Stevens. A 54-year-old Jenison man is expected to recover from minor injuries sustained after crashing his SUV into a residence north of Hudsonville late yesterday morning. The name of the motorist was not disclosed by Ottawa County Sheriff Sergeant Brad Bennett following the incident, which occurred around 11:30 a.m. in the 7400 block of Wingate Drive. That's near the junction of Baldwin Street and 28th Avenue. It appeared that the vehicle left the side street and traveled across several yards before crashing into the house. The motorist was taken to Cornwall Zeeland Hospital for treatment and no other persons were involved. Bennett didn't go into the circumstances which led to the driver losing control of the vehicle, as the incident remains under investigation. Now that federal financial help is secured for those in 27 counties affected by April storms, Michigan disaster recovery centers are now open to connect disaster assistance with those eligible to receive it. Specialists from the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the U.S. Small Business Administration will be at 8 such locations, helping survivors apply for FEMA's individual assistance and SBA disaster loan programs. This includes document uploading, tips in making property more disaster resistant, and they'll be answering questions in person. On June 2nd, President Trump approved Governor Whitmer's request for a major disaster declaration stemming from those storms, which included heavy rain, snowmelt, and 9 confirmed tornadoes during an 11-day period across 43 counties. Among the Michigan disaster recovery centers established for the situation is the Gun Plain Township Fire Department building off of 8th Street near Plainwell. Additional pop-up sites and mobile centers will be open through this period. Highlighted online links for more information on FEMA individual assistance, along with an interactive map for all locations of the DRC, is in the story at WHTC.com. A number of mental health service and substance abuse recovery providers in southwest Michigan are receiving additional federal grant funding. The Office of Holland Congressman Bill Heisinger announced the grants last week through the U.S. Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration's Treatment for Individuals Experiencing Homelessness program, which expands access to mental and substance use disorders treatment for those without a permanent residence. It includes a $1 million allocation to On Point, a certified community behavioral health clinic in Allegan, operated by a county-sponsored authority. County Administrator Rob Sorrow points out the importance of this multifaceted facility.
Without good mental health services available to the community, it really causes quite a sort of snowball effect throughout the community when we can't help those that need those support services and wind up in situations where they either have to be jailed or other outcomes.
Van Buren Community Mental Health in Paw Paw is also receiving a $1 million grant. Kalamazoo Public Safety says a 21-year-old man was killed in a shooting just before 3 on Saturday morning near North Westnich Avenue and West Frank Street.
They were called to the scene for a report of shots being fired. They learned en route that one person had been shot. The victim was taken to a hospital in a private vehicle. He was later pronounced dead. No names have been released, and police say they have not yet made any arrests. I'm Michael Arning.
An assault suspect is dead after being shot by Kalamazoo County Sheriff's deputies during a 10-hour standoff in Rouse Township on Friday. Police responded to a call from a woman who said he had pointed a gun at her earlier in the day, and the man's father told him his son was in the middle of a mental health crisis. The suspect shot at them twice. Deputies returned fire both times, hitting the man around 4:20 on Friday afternoon. No names have been released. Deputies from the Mecosta County Sheriff's Office say a 74-year-old man is hospitalized with serious injuries after a crash yesterday afternoon in Wheatland Township. The man had to be airlifted to an undisclosed medical facility after the crash, where a Ford Fusion rear-ended a Ford Focus and a Dodge Caravan. A 22-year-old woman is also hospitalized with minor injury. 2 passengers in the Caravan were also hurt. Oakfield Township Fire Chief Sam Peterson says 6 people were injured in a crash on Saturday afternoon at the intersection of 10 Mile Road and Wabassas Avenue near Rockford, when a pickup truck pulling a pontoon boat going north was hit by a Jeep that ignored a stop sign when going east. 4 of the injured people were in the pickup truck, 2 were in the Jeep. Peterson says the injuries are serious but not life-threatening. Fueling stations along the lakeshore around the state and across the nation Maybe seeing some more business today based on developments half a world away. AAA Michigan says the statewide average as of dawn this morning stood at $3.93. That's down 2 pennies from last week and 27 cents than a month ago, but it's still 66 cents more than at this time in 2025. And a 15-gallon tank on average costs $59 to fill in Michigan. Along the lakeshore, fuel is running on average at $3.90 in Ottawa County, $3.89 in Allegan County, $3.88 in Muskegon County, and $3.92 in Kent County. However, worldwide crude oil futures prices jumped again overnight following the latest round of attacks by Iran's Revolutionary Guards on U.S. bases in several Gulf countries today. There's a brief reprieve for Haitians with temporary protected status. The U.S. Citizens and Immigration Services last Friday, through its website, says such work permits, which allow people fleeing natural disasters and wars to live in this country, will now expire on July 24th instead of last Friday. That means that those from the western half of the Caribbean island of Hispaniola who have been living and working in the United States legally have 2 more weeks before the documents expire. The government cited pending litigation last month. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the Trump administration could end TPS for thousands of immigrants, including those from Haiti and Syria. It includes some in the districts of Republican Congressman Tim Walberg of Tipton.
America is a place that is willing to be compassionate, but America is also a place that defines justice under the law, and we don't want to ever get away from that because Haiti is a perfect example. There is no justice under the law. There right now is no law, relatively speaking, and that is a concern, but in the end, our laws need to be followed.
Immigrant advocates are urging that Congress pass a Senate bill that would require the Department of Homeland Security to designate Haiti for TPS. The U.S. Department of Justice has started an investigation of United Auto Workers President Shawn Fain. He is accused of pressuring another high-ranking UAW official to secure benefits for his fiancée and her sister. Fain says the accusations are false and adds he will fight back hard. He blames the investigation on current UAW Vice President Rich Boyer, who's an opponent in a 6-way race for the UAW presidency. The two have feuded over the past couple of years. 9 bills approved by state lawmakers 18 months ago finally reached the desk of Governor Whitmer late last week, and she vetoed all of them due to the delay. The governor says if she would have signed them, it would have created an insurmountable administrative burden and would have unleashed endless litigation. House Republicans had blocked the bills from advancing to her desk after they retook majority in the 2024 election. State police say 2 people died in a wrong-way drunken driving crash on US 127 in Isabella County just after 3 a.m. yesterday near East Vernon Road in the northbound lanes. Troopers say a Toyota driven by a 24-year-old South Carolina man was southbound in the northbound lanes when he slammed head-on into a Kia driven by a 22-year-old Mississippi man. Alcohol and speed were both contributing factors. No names have been disclosed. The Gordie Howe International Bridge between Detroit and Windsor will now open on July 27th. The 4th such span between Michigan and Ontario is scheduled to open in mid-June, but was delayed by the White House, reportedly at the urging of competing Ambassador Bridge owner Matty Maroon, who had given $1 million to a Trump super PAC. Canadian officials say they and the U.S. have agreed to a series of cooperative measures for opening the bridge. The Michigan Department of Health and Human Services says there are now over 1,500 confirmed cases of cyclosporasis statewide, with most in southeast Michigan. The intestinal illness is caused by a parasite and causes sudden and explosive diarrhea. 44 people have needed to be hospitalized. The source has not been identified as of yet, and no cases have been reported thus far in Ottawa or Allegan counties. The University of Michigan is preparing to take a closer look into the culture of its athletic department. According to the Entertainment and Sports Programming Network, regents are expected to discuss an investigation on Thursday. And as part of the review, a decision on the future of Athletic Director Ward Manuel is anticipated in the coming days. The school issued a no comment on the ESPN report. The Wolverines commissioned an investigation last December following the sacking of football coach Sharon Moore. In baseball action yesterday, Zach Wheeler and 3 Philadelphia relievers teamed on a 2-hit, 14-strikeout shutout as the visiting Phillies tamed the Tigers at Comerica Park in Detroit 5-0.
He's one of the best pitchers in the game, if not the best, back-to-back Cy Young, so you know he's going to bring it. You also have to. Just facing guys like Skeen, Sell, him, you got to step up your game because they're going to pitch very well majority of the time.
Alex Bregman homered and drove in 4 runs as the Chicago Cubs beat the Reds in Cincinnati 8-4.
I got a good routine going right now. Feel good in the box. Feel like I kind of have assessed what was the cause of the first half. So excited for the second half. I'm looking forward to it.
Braden Montgomery homered and drove in 4 runs as Will Venables. White Sox whipped the visiting Athletics at Rate Field in Chicago 9-1.
Yeah, really nice series. Obviously, we saw contributions from everybody, both sides of the ball. Some really good defense this series. Pitching was great, and obviously some really good stuff from offense.
Justin DeCrisio and Oswaldo Linares teamed to hit 2 homers and drive in all of Fort Wayne's runs as the visiting Tin Caps topped the West Michigan Whitecaps at LMCU Ballpark in Comstock Park 9-1. All of organized baseball will now break for tomorrow night's Major League All-Star Game in Philadelphia. Dylan Dingler, starter Riley Green, Kevin McGonigal, and Justin Verlander will represent Detroit. Pete Crow Armstrong comes from the Cubs, while Munetaka Murakami, Tristan Peters, and Miguel Vargas are from the White Sox. On Friday evening, the Tigers face the Los Angeles Angels in Anaheim, with broadcast time at 9:10 p.m. on WHTC Holland's Cool FM. The Cubs host the Minnesota Twins at Wrigley Field. The White Sox take on the Blue Jays in Toronto, and the Whitecaps play the Great Lakes Loons in Midland. Get the latest news anytime at WHTC.com.